in the whole spring and now I guess somewhat summer upgrades now. Things are taking time, and this is a classic example of things taking time. The pilot bearing, this is for the 4-speed, and as you can see, it's kind of goofy, and it doesn't fit inside the crank, the smaller part. Now, funny enough, this is the stock pilot bearing. Ripped the inside out, and it would not come out with the slide hammer, so we had to get nasty with it. That's the end result of that. It's out. We did not damage the crank.
Much.
Shh. Monster clutch here, LT1S, and we have it apart in a way where we know where everything is at because they have to be balanced. The new pilot is in the crank, and so fun thing with hot rodding is you spend all this money and then parts don't fit. There's a LS3 starter on the car. Well, this high dollar $700 Bellhousing doesn't fit. So where the black mark is right there, it's where the die grinder is going to come into action, and we're going to clearance it. So that's the fun thing about hot rodding. You spend a bunch of money for parts that don't fit.
This is actually the horsepower production tool. It's no longer called a die grinder. I'm patenting that.
Oh, all right.
Horsepower production tool.
So that's where we are currently at. We're going to install the clutch. The Bellhousing will probably have to be cut too. The actual, this is just the plate that goes against the block.
Yeah.
I don't know, what the hell's that thing called? The block plate?
It's block plate. This is supposed to help save the block when things go bad, but you know.
Does it actually save the block?
There's a lot of openness going on right here, so. You know, whatever.
Essentially, with this here QuickTime Bellhousing back here, is the whole idea of it is it's thick and heavy, and if the clutch flies apart, it won't cut your feet off or destroy the car in the process. That's what we hope happens.
But why would the clutch come apart?
Crazy shit happens. And NHRA and IHRA says that you have to have that when you're going fast, so.
Figured you're gonna tell me you plan on trying your best to make it come apart, but.
What do you mean? Hold it wide open and dump the clutch? I don't do that, ever. So,
Yeah, something like that.
We're gonna get nasty with it, cut it, and test fit it. Alright guys, so it's quite a bit later on. Garrett, he went home for the night, and we got the clutch in. Now, I would like to film more of it, but however, not having access to a lift made that basically impossible. Plus, it was tight underneath there, and really there was only room for, you know, one person at a time. However, we did change the location of the jack stands so another person, well, not to make it so another person could fit, but it's the jack stands were about right here underneath the subframe of the car, and we moved them forward, and now they're sitting right there, which is let me get my phone light out here because my shop light died. Alright, now we can see a little bit better what's going on. So basically where the back of the control arm mounts, moved it up all the way up here. It's still about the same height off the ground, which is not tall enough. Like, it, you know, it's going to be the struggle bus putting the trans back in. Now, what I will do, I'll turn the camera off, and I'll slide underneath there and show you the master clutch mounted. We had to cut the motor plate, or block plate, whatever it's called for the Bellhousing. And what we did here is we're actually going to have to modify the Bellhousing itself, which is extremely annoying given because there's so much money. And the thing is too, I don't have like, you know, some exotic starter on there. It's a freaking LS3 starter. The LS1 starters have issues where like they'll break the lug off the side of the starter, or sometimes they break the lug off the bolt, and they got issues. And it's with the design. And the LS3 starter it was like 180 bucks on eBay from AC Delco. I think it was an AC Delco. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But I remember it was like, or maybe it was 150 bucks, and from the dealership they wanted 180. I think it was 150 bucks. And anyway, it was cheaper on eBay, and it's just a regular run-of-the-mill LS3 starter. Nothing exotic. And they make it so the freaking bell housing doesn't fit. So right here, make sure everything's in frame. Right here, there's a scratch. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this or not. Get close up. But right here, this section, we're gonna have to cut this off, and then get in there and grind out a little bit here. So that's pretty annoying, because I spent $700 on that scatter shield, and it don't fit correctly. And then, I'm sure I'm gonna get the question, well, why didn't you just get a stock one, or stock bell housing? Stock bell housing would have fit. But a prime example of this, Garrett has 98 Camaro. He had some transmission issues when he bought the car, and he rebuilt the trans. Well, when he was pulling the stock bell housing off, it broke. It just cracked and a piece fell apart. They're made out of aluminum. And the other thing too is, if bad things happen, I really don't want to destroy the car or have my feet cut off. So kind of the reason to get the high dollar bell housing. Just annoying that it doesn't fit. So all right, I'll turn the camera off, slide under the car, show you what's going on under there. All right, guys, so here we are under the car. As you can see, the Monster LT1S twin disc clutch has been installed. And thank you to Garrett for doing basically all the work on that. You can see right there how the starter sits up, tucks in nice and sits up a little bit higher. And so yeah, we had to modify the bell housing. Now there's little metal slivers laying all over, and I have a couple of them in my hand. Kind of annoying. Right here, these are the old hydraulic lines. One of these is for the speed bleeder, and the other one is for I think this one right here on the bottom is the old line that went to the slave. Don't need that anymore, so I need to remove that strap and remove that line, install the new one onto the, actually never mind, the new one is right there. So that is what is going on here. Again, I want to film way more of it, but it's nearly impossible given the setup. But we'll be able to get, I think I might be able to get a little bit more in the action now, since the jack stands, they were sitting about right here on the frame rail, and now they're up there. So I think clearance wise, I might be able to get in here and show a little bit more of what's going on. But anyways, guys, that is what's going on. And I'll see you in the next segment, which will probably be this weekend. And we're going to install the bell housing. We're going to get nasty with it, hack it up, and then we're going to test fit the trans. Trans might come back out because we need to weld in a shifter hump, and I might end up ordering a stock hump, if depending on how everything fits, because there's this massive gap right here. So, up in the air about that. Neighbor hasn't been able to come over and look at it. And, well, I haven't really asked him to. He works, he builds like construction, he builds buildings, steel buildings, and he's been at work, and they've been working him real hard, and he got a piece of metal in his eye, and they had to dig it out, and he was out of commission for like a week and a half because they had to heal, and I still don't know if he's able to weld or fabricate or do anything. And I know how bad it sucks not to have great vision, so I'm not gonna like ask him to come over here and fabricate on my car. Given that situation, I want him to heal up and be safe. So that's where we're at. It's been a long process, and that's how it goes when you're trying to do this kind of thing. And like I said, it just really bums you out when you spend a bunch of money on parts that are supposed to fit together and they don't fit together. That's really freaking annoying. But it happens. Suspension parts, they don't just slide in there and fit like they do on TV. You gotta spread the ears on the frame rail open to clear the bushings, and just, yeah. So that's the real side of things. So thank you to the 200 people that have subscribed so far, and hope to you guys continue watching. Said you want vice grips?
I said I don't have the balls to grab it because I know it's hot.
No.
Alright, well, I guess we'll clean that up and test fit it. Probably knock that corner out. Just go round it out. Now, so when the clutch blows up, hopefully it doesn't find that hole. Yep.
Do you need my die grinder?
Right, now, I'll notch it and I'll take this to it. And then if it to go further, I'll use it. But I'm not going to use the angle one with a grinding disc on it until we know it's going to fit. And then we'll just sort that out.
Purdy it up a little bit.
Pretty good.
I'll spray some paint on it that doesn't match.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Throw it in the car.
we'll notch that corner this way, round it out a little bit. Just clean up a little bit and test fit it. Yep. Thanks, QuickTime.
Yep. See, kids, this is what happens when you buy $700 Bellhousings.
We could have bought a GM one, way cheaper. They're really strong. You know, they don't break just when you pry the transmission off them or nothing. No big deal.
Personal experience with that, Garrett?
Yeah. Let's I can show you one, but I think I scrapped it. So, busticated. So, yep.
Good Lord, that's loud.
Yeah. Dampen that fucker.
God dang.
Oh, we better put a piece in here and weld it, man. Just call my dad back.
Our fab guy has been out of commission.
Good enough test minute. See.
Alright guys, so this video's been being made in the process over a few weeks now. Alright, transmission is in the car. Temporarily. There's 2 bolts holding it in, and basically what we just put it in there is for testing purposes. See how well it fits, and we got to measure a drive shaft. We're going to do that tomorrow, so we're going to, load the suspension of the car. Front wheel's going to go on these little ramp things that my grandpa made back in the day. The back's going to just stay on jack stands because that's good enough. And we're going to get a measurement for a drive shaft and get one on order. Now, the good news is you don't have to cut the tunnel of the car to make the transmission fit. Contrary to popular belief, I've heard it both ways. And I got my light right here. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you all what's going on. So, there you have it. This is the stock hole with the hump taken out. all I did to take the shifter hump out was a hammer and a chisel, and just broke the welds. It kind of tore holes in the floor, whatever, I don't care. We got the other hole, or the other hump that we're gonna put in its place. Come around the other side. There's plenty of clearance on the other side. Driver's side, passenger side, just gonna be a little trim action. But as you can see, it's tight, but it fits. Now, this shifter, the fun thing about the T56 Magnum is you could put the shift location in 3 spots. One's right up here where this little bolt is. Make sure that we're good and in frame quick. All right, so right here where this bolt is up here, all the way up front, and then this is the middle position, and then whoop, turn it around backwards, there's the 3rd position, which would be right there. And the shifter was mounted in the 3rd position when I received the transmission. But just from eyeballing it, I was like, I think the shifter needs to be mounted forward. And I should have looked at the instructions on the shifter that I bought to fit the car to be in factory location. It did, in fact, need to be in the 3rd location. But on the other side of things, it saved us because it was actually kind of hitting the floor when we were trying to raise it up in position. So moving it, you know, this way was kind of a blessing in disguise. So that's where we're at with that. Let's take a look under the car. There's so much more room for activities with the Summit brand Crossmember mount. And before I get too deep into this, let me tell you what a pain in the ass it was to fit this thing in here. Oh my lord. So, turn the light back. Oh god, I just blind myself. Alright, blind. So anyway though, this is the Summit brand Crossmember right here. And so the old Crossmember bolted in, you know, right here, the same place this one, but it come out and it was a lot thicker and lower, and the glass packs would hit. But now, because we got this new Crossmember here that fits up nice tight against the floor, look at how much room we have for activities and X-pipes. So that's what's going on under the car. The QuickTime Bellhousing, we had to cut that up as you seen in a previous clip, but we got all the, we can utilize all 8 bolts now to hold the bell housing to the engine, the 2 that go in the oil pan. Yeah, that's right, LS Welders bell housing bolts that go into the oil pan. And then we got all the extra little bolts to hold the block plate on and everything. So let's come up here on the side. You can see, you know, for side clearance, I thought it was going to be a lot tighter, but both sides, you know, plenty of clearance. So, needless to say, I'm pretty impressed with the way everything fit. And the exhaust is going to fit better now. It shouldn't be banging the Crossmember. You'd hear that when it'd be sitting there idling, rumping, ding, 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 at the same time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about all of it. But let me tell you, me and Garrett, he's gone now. You went home to get some dinner. Oh, pay no attention. The transmission is not bolted in. Or I should say the transmission mount is not bolted in. So anyway, what a pain in the ass did we have mounting this thing. Oh my lord. We struggled and struggled and struggled and sweat, cussed and cussed and cussed, and there's no real good way to film it. I mean, we were down here, you know, wrestling the thing in. You were not going to see anything, or anything that you'd want to see anyway. But I mean, we just had a real joy putting it in. So yeah, that's tripping on stuff. So anyway, yeah, that's where we're at with this project. I'm hoping by June, just as a time reference, next week, June 4th and 5th, I took his vacation days, so I have a full week off, and I only got to take 2 days to get a full week off with my new 12-hour schedule. I didn't shut the door all the way either. Amateur hour. So, neighbor, he's gonna come over here, finish the fab work, and then in that time, I'm gonna paint everything, and I'm gonna throw the interior back in. I'm going to take the carburetor off and the intake off because we are going to notch the middle of the intake to kind of try to help solve the dieseling issue when you, or after, you know, run, when you turn the car off. Yeah, try to solve all that. Drive shaft, we're gonna measure it tomorrow. Get one ordered. You need to get a speed bleeder ordered. You need to get some fluid from Summit for the diff, which I have in my shopping cart. I just need to get to $100, so I get the free shipping from Summit, and we'll be in business. So that's where we're at. We'll continue this video later. I'm Adam Hack. We're back. So, update on what's going on. Transmission's in. It's in for the final time. We test fitted it. That was the last video. And this is going to be the conclusion of the whole clutch, the bell housing, and the trans, and everything's in there. We put the shifter in. This is for testing purposes only. I got a piece of plate made here. We're gonna, you know, cut a hole for the shifter to go through, and then the boot and everything. But check this thing out. It is sweet, and it is tight. So it's pretty crazy how fast you can get through the gears and how close everything is. Floor of the car is finally done. I used some good old Rusto Trusto bed liner. My little nephew, he helped me paint it. And so yeah, we're just slowly getting the interior back together. And gonna wait on the passenger seat. I'm gonna get new bolts for that over there because I ripped the threads off of a bolt. But we were able to save the hole with the running a tap through it and clean all the threads out. So that's good news from there. I'm glad the bolt failed when I was running it in with an air ratchet, not in an accident, because that would have sucked. But so that's where we're at with everything. And hopefully we can start. Hopefully we can start driving the car pretty soon. The only things really left to do is we got to do wire in a switch mechanism to deactivate or activate the solenoid, so you can slide it into reverse easy, and then you just turn the switch off. They do make a fancy box, but that's expensive, and I don't feel like messing with that right now. And the reverse lights, we'll finally have those. That'll be the first time I had reverse lights since I've owned the car. And we gotta bleed the clutch, bleed the brakes, and you know, some carburetor tuning here and there. I decided not to pull the carburetor and notch the intake and all that. I want to, you know, fine tune what we got, and if we still need to do some more, then we can notch the intake and go from there. But that's where I'm at, guys. So you seen me take this apart before. There'll be that process, but in reverse, and gotta do a couple little, you know, things in the center console. I'll have to make room for the little trim piece. I'll have to, you know, cut and notch because of the new hump, and that's about all there is involved with that. So here we are, making progress.